I don't know why Pythagorean numerology took the stance on karmic debt that it does, but as somebody who uses supplementary numbers, which Pythagorean numerology typically does not use supplementary numbers, or at least emphasize them, karmic debt is not as scary and boogly woogly as they trying to make it seem. And I'm gonna just keep it a buck, a bean, and everything in between with you. It's not that bad, especially when it is dominantly placed in your chart. This is being in your name numbers, your destiny number, or your psychic number. If the karmic debt placement is there, baby, I'm gonna let you know now, you're probably fine. And on top of you just generally being fine, the supplementary number being the karmic debt number that it is, whatever it simplifies to, just like we were talking about in episode 2 of the supplementary number, highlights an impactful age or period. This, with the context of karmic debt, it still does the same thing, but we're going to understand it through the lens of the final digit. And I shit you not, every single karmic debt number is just the final digit numbers themes on steroids. We're about to go through them right now because it's honestly insane to me that somebody really has y'all out here scared, really scared for your life, when it's not that deep, it's not that serious, it's really not that bad. I promise you it's okay. We are okay. It's okay. It's okay. Now, what is karmic debt? Karmic debt basically says that you was wilding in a past life and now you gotta pay up. If we still take the context of that your karmic debt placement is understood through the lens of the final digit that it simplifies to, all of this is kind of fucking funny, to me at least, because it's really never been that scary. Your karmic debt numbers are 13, 14, 16, and 19, but we're not going to go in that order because they simplify in a different order, which hopefully this will make sense as we go. So starting with karmic debt number 19, it says that in a past life that you were domineering, selfish, abused power, even in a past life. You want to know some themes of one, which 19 simplifies to? Dominance. Selfishness. Power. Like, it's so unserious, and so am I. And it's so crazy to sit over here and be like, you were this way in a past life, and now in this life, you need to fix that. But we're not gonna tell you how to do it based off of karmic debt. And the thing is, because one rules over all of those themes, it is sort of kind of a situation of using other one themes to balance it out. Independence without isolation or abuse of power or being selfish. Independence is a one theme. And the same is said for all the other things that karmic debt 19 rules over. This is like being a leader, a theme of one, without abusing your power. This also looks like being confident without being cocky. Like, it's not as scary and boogly woogly as people think it is. And I'm concerned. I'm concerned that we ever made it something like that, because it was never that. It was never that. It really never was that. And I wish that we could just be honest about that. Moving to karmic debt number 13, which simplifies to 4. In a past life, procrastination, laziness, struggles with discipline. You want to know some 4 themes? I feel I might just have to do it for every single number at this point. Discipline is a 4 theme. Procrastination is a 4 theme. And also even procrastination in regards to the concepts of numerology. There's certain things that Pythagorean will say is a number theme without ever taking context of the fact that it's human fucking behavior. And also, why? How did we get here? Why is 4 connected to procrastination? 4 has a Saturn rulership, and Saturn rules over time and your experience with time, and also your experience with boundaries. Procrastination typically happens as a coping mechanism to avoid something that you're not fully comfortable with, whether it's the time it takes to do it, the boundaries that you might have to cross, or so on and so forth. And you want to know how to balance the karmic debt of 13? Take action. And you know what rules over taking action? 4. Like, it's so unserious. It's so unserious. And because like 4 is one of the most complex numbers because it has literally, I want to say like 5 rulers: Uranus, Saturn, Mercury, Rahu, I feel like I'm missing one. North Node. There we go. 5 rulers. You really think that we was just gonna be calm, cool, and collected with that? All of that in there? Fuck no. Psh, get out my face. That's a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie. There's just no way. One of the things I will say with Karmic Debt 413 is the fact that there is the point of view that you'll have to work harder. Saturn, again, one of 4's rulers, rules over discipline. Saturn, if you have dominant Saturn placements or have experience or understanding of how Saturn behaves, Saturn don't play. And as somebody who is Saturn ruled with a 413 placement, if that's something that you have, it's still that same thing. Be serious. Be so for real. That is sort of kind of the vibe that Saturn is on. And if you're not taking it seriously, we gonna play in your face too. Fuck is like, we both can do it. You want to tussle, we can tussle. That's fine. Now moving on to 14, which simplifies to 5. The things that you were doing in your past life. Overthinking, being irresponsible, escapism, and impulsivity. Now you want to know what rules over those things? The number 5. I just really want to take a moment to even just go back, even reviewing the numbers that I've already talked about, to say, even the final digit rules over these themes, a lot of the times the supplementary numbers the numbers that create the supplementary number also connect to those themes. Like for 19, the abuse of power is not even just a 1 theme. It's also a 9 theme. You want to know why? 9 is ruled by Mars. One of its rulers is Mars. Does that sound calm? Mars, planet of war? Like, please. please be so for real right now. Same thing with like Karmic Debt 13 that simplifies to a 4. Procrastination, that's also a 1 theme, also a 3 theme. Even though they don't have Saturn rulership, that really is what emphasizes it in 4. All 3 of these numbers connect to taking action in some way. They're all movement-focused energies in some way. It's not the only energy that they have and the only thing that they do, but there's this thing called duality. And it's recognizing that there's opposites in numbers, things that are 2 things that oppose each other maybe in some way, but they still connect. So like there's just like the law of balance, but numerology edition. So just like we can take action, we can be like, nah, I don't want to do that. Get that off my to-do list. No, I don't see her. Leave me alone. That's the vibe. And it can really be like that. Anyways, back to 14.5. Yeah, no. Overthinking is a 5 theme. Like shit. And you want to know fucking why? 5 is ruled by Mercury, the planet of communication, processing, thought, understanding, the fucking mind. Oh my god. And 5 rules over freedom. And I sort of kind of don't like the fact that Pythagorean takes this stance of just because we like freedom, it means we're irresponsible. No. Curiosity, like exploration, these are all 5 themes that could and was probably boxed in under irresponsibility, even though it might not always be that. And again, I would say that when we're taking just 1 placement into account and just looking at that and be like, that's enough, we miss out on a lot of the context of why whatever is happening, because it's likely that you have other placements that are different numbers in your chart that give you context of this irresponsibility, if that is what is happening, of this escapism, if that's what is happening. Because it's how numbers work. It's not a one and done thing. And again, if you have any of these placements, your life is not over. It is just a placement, and the placement helps you work through it every single time. One of the ways to help regulate this energy is through talking or talk therapy or forms of therapies that are like that, or journaling, talking to yourself, because 5 is a very mentally focused number. It lives in the mind, but it also connects to reality of actually wanting to be like, okay, I see this. let me go do something about that type vibe, because it's just like, okay, well, I see this in my head, let me go explore it, let me go see what the vibes are, let me take an adventure, let me go on a journey. That's 5's whole vibe. It's ruled by Mercury and Jupiter. You sort of kind of see where it comes from. Now, I will say that because of 5's mentally focused energy, the relationship and experience with emotionality is not always the first thing on the list, because as the number, not a person with the number, as a number, the energy is logic and thought focused. So it doesn't always lean into emotionality, and sometimes in behavior for a person with this number, it can show up as an experience where understanding how one's actions impacts another person is maybe not on the first thing on the list of thoughts I'm having. Overall, Karmic Debt 14.5 is just adapting to the fact that life is how life is, but also I want to explore, I want to go try shit, I want to fuck around and find out. Let me be free. That's really what 14.5 is. Now, finally, 16.7. So Karmic Debt 16.7 says that in a past life, pessimism, avoidance, hyperfixation, and overindulgence were major themes in a past life. And you already know what I'm gonna ask. You know what themes? You know what number connects to those themes? You guessed it. 7. And if you guessed 12 or like 4, I mean, shit, I guessed. But all of these things are natural to 7. They're native to 7 themes. And it's not all boogly woogly. Like, 7 is very formless and boundless in its nature, but to put 7's energy in the context of a human experience, this can look like being aware of one's limits or how the physical world encapsulates or molds the mental world. This can also look like doing things without self-sabotaging, and also even going through stuff and being a little bit more optimistic about it, because also 7 is not all pessimism. There's a lot of interesting non-harmful themes about 7, which this can also look like being more intentional about being present and seeing the world in the physical form. And speaking of physical and also talking about supplementary numbers, 16, 6 connects to the physical world. That's one of its whole vibes, is the fact that it is a physical focused number. It loves the material. It is a sensory focused number in regards to the fact that of the experience with the senses, whereas 5 rules over the senses themselves. 6 is the actual experience of it, the taste, the smell, the sight, the sound, all of the things. It is very focused on that. So not only do we get context of how to work through this energy through the lens of the 7, but we also get clarity on how this works out by understanding the supplementary number. Now, this was sort of kind of me just yelling about karmic debt, because it really does grind my fucking gears that somebody sat over here and was just like, if you have these 4 numbers in your chart, you're doomed. Like, please stop being so dramatic. Oh my God. And this is also why not taking a conglomerated perspective is sometimes misleading. It's not to say that conglomerated numerology is the only numerology that you should focus on, of actually taking the context of bunches of systems and combining it. That's the only way you can ever learn numerology. No. I am just recognizing the fact that when you take the context of other systems and look at a certain thing in one system with that context in mind, you fill in some gaps and you get some closure, and you might just sleep better at night instead of sitting here thinking that, oh, I have karmic debt, I was da-da-da-da. No, we don't always have to take that approach. We can look at this a different way. And there's also even another way we can look at karmic debt, which I will visit in a later episode, because that's a little bit of a surprise, but it is one of my services. So anyways, all right. So this is not only the only supplementary number that you can have being karmic debt. There's also something called exalted numbers, which we're going to talk about in the next episode.